Welcome back to the Field Coach Experts Podcast. I'm your host, as normal, Jen Brannon, and today we are talking about one of the biggest mindset shifts that drives real growth in franchising, which is helping franchisees move from being a good operator of their business to becoming a great business owner. And this is one of the most common challenges that we see. And to be honest with you, it's also one of the most rewarding transformations that when it happens. I'm super excited to have AC Inc.'s Director of Advising, Brecon Gage, here with me as my guest today. Brecon he really leads the advising team, and he works directly with franchisors and field coaches to help franchisees and to build those business ownership skills through performance groups, workshops, and of course the coaching that we do. It's been said that Brecon is a male version of me, so he must be my brother from another mother. So welcome, Brecon. I'm happy to have you.
Thanks. I've been called much worse things in my life, so I'll take that one. That one's pretty good. It's good to be
Yes, that's good. Well, yeah, we've been doing this thing for a few years now, and I don't know about you, but I find it really rewarding to see these franchisees that are making this transformation to really get into working on their business and becoming a business owner. So I want to ask you to start off, why do you think, just from your experience, why do you think so many franchisees get stuck working in their business instead of on it?
That's a good question because it is really common, as you noted. I would say there's a variety of reasons. One is that franchisees often come from operations, right? So they don't necessarily have business backgrounds. It's also, if you start running a small business, and you and I have both been there, it becomes your comfort zone, right? This is what I know how to do. I know how to do this, whether it's making widgets or building this. It's just what I know. And then the other reason I think we see most commonly is they lack the know-how, whether it's lack of knowledge or training in financials. They've never built a strategic plan before. And a lot of them don't have experience in leadership or how to build a team and manage a team. And so they go back to their safe space of, we know how to run this, and I'm going to just keep going back there, and that's what I'm going to do. And so they get stuck, unfortunately.
Did you, because both Brecon and I have been franchisees in our former lives, and I know certainly in my early years, this was me as well. I loved, I was supplemental education, and I loved making a difference with kids and talking to the parents and, finding the team that was going to support the kids and all of that kind of stuff. Did that same happen to you, Brecon?
All the time. My last business, which was in senior care, and still, for the first couple of years, I still like doing payroll. Like, just leave me alone with my numbers in the corner. And I didn't need to be doing payroll. I needed to be out working on my business, but I just liked it because it was comforting, and I was alone with my numbers, or meeting seniors and meeting their clients, right? Or their clients, I should say. I love doing that. Mm-hmm. But that's really what our nurses and the team was for. But I would still do it sometimes because I like doing it.
Well, you know what? With me, till I owned my business for my last business, at least for 10 years, to the day I sold it, I still did all of the quick bucks because I liked it. But you know what? I will say it also kept me, because I had my team running the business and I was somewhat hands off, but it kept me. Right. Maybe it was just I like to see the money and see all the money coming in.
Well, and that's but if you understand it, that actually can be very useful. That can be used for working on the business.
Exactly.
So you may have been working on the business even though you are very comfortable doing so.
Yes, that's right. So what do you think the differences are between someone who is a great operator, and there's lots of great operators out there, and I would even say there's some of the top performing franchisees that are great operators, but not necessarily great business owner. They just happen to maybe have an awesome territory, maybe they are a good leader. I've seen it time and time again, but they don't understand the metrics and the numbers and the financials and all of these things, but they're just such a good operator that they can be successful. But still, that lends itself to us ask, like, how much money are they leaving on the table? Where could their business be if they had these business skills? So what do you think the difference is between being a great operator and being a great business owner?
I think you hit the head on a couple of those ones. One, it's working in the details versus, setting the direction and vision planning, right? So that's definitely a component. And it's almost like they're managing tasks instead of building out their team and building their people. And for a lot of operators, I think it's because it's like, I'm going to go get this done. It's checked, done, it's easy. Whereas building out your team, we're managing people. And so that takes time. It's not an immediate ROI sometimes. It goes up and down. I mean, we've managed teams before, both of us, I know, and we lose team members, or a team member takes a step back and it's frustrating. Whereas just operating a task is very just check, done. And for great operators, that feels good. Whereas you don't always see, like, it's more gray in the leadership role, I think. And so it's a little bit harder. And then the other big difference, honestly, JB, it's when you're a great operator, but you're not a great business owner, there is a ceiling on how big you can go. Mm-hmm. And because there are only so many hours in the day that you can be that great operator. Whereas when you're a great vision, or a great business owner, I should say, you're able to build out the vision, build out your team, and now the sky's the limit. Whereas before, there's definitely a limit on where you can go.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we get a lot of franchisees. We're going to talk about our performance groups shortly. But when we hear at the beginning, when we have franchisees that want to be a part of our performance groups, they oftentimes, we always ask, what's the reason why? And we hear, because I'm so stuck in day to day, my life is chaotic. I am dealing with everything. I'm taking care of it all, and I'm firefighting all of the time, and I'm not focused on growing my business. So what do you think the biggest signs are of a franchisee that is really stuck in the weeds?
Yeah, there's some clear signs we see, and you hit some of it. One of them is burnout or overwhelm. Like, they just don't know what to do, and they are done. Like, we've seen it. You can tell it when you see it. They're cooked. They are constantly putting out fires. So they're super reactive as opposed to proactive, and that is a really common one. And then, honestly, the other sign that we see for franchisees is they don't understand. They don't have a clear vision of their finances or their numbers. Like, what you ask them, what's your average closing rate or your average tick, and they're like, oh, it's somewhere around here. I think it's 50%, and then we dive into the numbers, and it's 22%. They have no idea. So that's usually a pretty good idea that they don't know the numbers, which means they are stuck in the weeds, because that means they're not working on their business. Does that make sense?
Totally. One thing, and I think I said it at the beginning of the podcast, is one of the big things that we do is try to shift people's mindset to help them recognize where they're at. A lot of times they know it, but sometimes they don't even realize they can get out of it. Like, there's another way. They almost think, well, this is business ownership. And so I want to kind of two-part this question. First, how do maybe you or some of our team members that are working with these franchisees in our performance groups, how do we help them recognize that this pattern of being stuck in the weeds, and then getting them to shift out of it?
I'd say most of it starts by asking questions, and not just, how are you feeling today? It's powerful, reflective questions. So, like, are you enjoying your work? Where do you want this to go? What do you want to get out of your business? What is your vision? And usually they have no idea, right? So getting them to start processing and thinking about, is this what I want for the rest of my career in this business, however long that's going to be, is often the first step. And it's amazing how many people go into a business and don't have a clear vision or a strategy. They just think, oh, this is what I'm going to do. But after a while, and it's like, okay, are there patterns here? You can ask, are you seeing, like, is every Monday like this? Do you enjoy this? What would you enjoy? What would you like to take away? How would you do that? How would it look like if you didn't have to do tasks A, B, C, and D on Monday and Tuesday? So just planting some seeds, and mostly it comes through self-reflection, but as a coach, our job is to ask the questions that will lead to that self-reflection. Then they can start to identify, you're right, I don't enjoy this. Okay, now we can help them build a strategy on how do we get from where we're at to where we want to go. And then there's other components of that. Okay, what are our priorities, and helping them define priorities. And a big piece of it is the accountability piece, right? I can't tell you how often a coach or a franchisee has told us that, yeah, I want to do this. Okay, I'm going to do these 3 things, and they don't do it. And if you don't talk to them about why they didn't get that done, they're just going to keep not doing it because it's uncomfortable, frankly. And so that's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So how then, if we've got franchisees who are in our performance group,
Right.
what do we do? What are kind of the tangibles that we do with them to shift that mindset from operator to owner?
So honestly, it starts in the first couple sessions in a PG. And sorry, I'll use PG to refer to performance groups. One is we help them using different diagnostic tools. We're going to help them identify where their business is at today, and that includes their role within their business, where it's going. But we look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, but also within all different aspects of their business. So we want to diagnose their business. Then we really help them clarify and first identify and then clarify their vision and goals. And they're going to see that there's a disconnect between where they're at and where they want to be. All right. And so that's when the self-realization comes in. Now they have peer accountability as well. So when they say they're going to do A, B, and C, their peers are hearing, did you get it done? And no one wants to show up to those meetings and not get it done. And of course, we introduce things like real KPIs, scorecards, financial review, all those things that are taught and reviewed within the PG, and it's all done within a safe space, so that they know that they're not going to be judged. They're just going to get assistance from their peers, and they can throw out ideas and like, is this dream and my BHAG crazy, or do you guys? And then they get support, and they hear their peers say, "No, go for it. I love your plan, and let's tweak it here and there." And so, those are some of the ways that, frankly, PGs really help shift that mindset, and it is amazing when you see it. It's pretty spectacular when you see the light go off. It's awesome.
That's amazing. I know we've had such amazing feedback from those performance groups from franchisees who've said, what a transformation that it has done for me. And I love the one. I finally feel like I'm a business owner. I finally get it. I finally feel like I'm a business owner.
Yeah, and that comes from some of the skills that we teach within that group, right? So, like, we do teach, if they don't have financial background, we're going to teach them Financial 101. And just to be clear, whatever the topics are, if it's KPIs, financials, staffing evaluation, we're going to adjust it to the level of the group. So we're not going to go jump to level 4 if everyone in the group's at level 1. We'll start at level 1 and we'll build foundations and we'll teach, apply, revamp, etc. But yeah, we do teach things like, it's amazing how many people don't understand the difference between net and gross profit. I had somebody ask me who COGS is that I keep referring to, cost of goods sold, right? They don't have the financial training, some of these folks. And so that's fine. Our job is to teach that. And then we teach how to create a strategic plan, how to develop a marketing strategy, how to implement it, how to evaluate my team and my staff, how to give feedback, all these things that allow them to move from, as we said, like being in the weeds to managing a team, understanding their numbers, and creating a plan to help them get from where their numbers are to where they want them to be.
One of my favorite things beyond some of those that I know you've put a lot of work in and actually have created a little bit of an add-on specialty sessions on leadership, because it's one of those things that we've seen it time and time again. So many people think they're a great leader.
Oh, yeah.
And really they're not, or they're okay, but they don't really understand how to be a good leader and what does that mean and that kind of thing. Can you just speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we've got a couple of different modules there. The first one we look at is leadership, and it goes through a variety of different topics, but it generally starts with an intro to leadership, what are some of the different what are some of the different leadership styles, whether it's autocratic or servant leadership or what have you. There's a bit of a self-evaluation as to identifying what kind of leader you are. There's discussions regarding, what are some of the characteristics of strong leaders. We talk about what are some of the characteristics of weaker leaders. And then it's a really safe space. So we do ask folks to open up where they struggle. When I was first leading folks, I really struggled because I micromanaged people. I was a control freak, and it was really challenging for me. And I'm still working on it, frankly. It's something I've been working on through my whole life. But just identifying areas that you're not good at, and then we look at like how to read your team, how to adapt to different personality styles or communication styles, different learning styles. Whether it's through DISC or Zoracle, there's different personality profiling tools out there that can really help. And then how to give feedback, how to give evaluations, how to have hard conversations. And we have to have some of those within the group sometimes, right? Because sometimes someone's saying, well, I'm an amazing leader and my staff love me. How do you know that?
Right.
How are you measuring that? What feedback have you gotten? What is your staff turnover rate? Why is it higher than everybody else's in the group? Let's talk about it, right? And so it's always done with empathy and respect, but sometimes there are hard conversations even within that group. And then, leadership, and then we get into operational leadership as well, even like how to run effective meetings, right? So it's all different components. It is adjusted based on the brand, of course, we're working with and the strengths and weaknesses of the group. And it's amazing where those conversations go. But everyone comes out of there. I'm not going to say they're going to come out of there and they're way better leaders, but they'll be much more aware of the areas they need to work on and how to do so.
No, that's amazing. So yours was micromanage. I was on the other end. And I still struggle with this. I was okay, I'm going to show you how to do it. Here's how you do it. Now go off and do it. And I'm not going to follow through. I'm just going to expect that you're going to do it. And, just
one of those other add-ons we talked about in the staffing one, we actually talk about how to delegate, right? What are the steps to effective delegation? Because frankly, most people, Jen, do exactly what you used to do, right? And that's super common, but they don't establish, okay, what are the expectations? What's the communication channel? How and when are we doing feedback? What does success look like? All these things. It's amazing. And it's not taught or trained anywhere else. So we really love this leadership and staffing components. We've run it with several brands now. The feedback we're getting is tremendous.
Right. Can you think of anyone, maybe you can tell a quick story about them or someone that really on top of your mind made a huge transition? And I will say I just recorded a podcast with Kim Chapman from Oxford Learning. So Kim. she's so honest and open, and she was talking about what a train wreck she was at the beginning and how going through performance groups and then mastermind with actually both of us, how great what a difference it was. And just a side note, she just told me that she had her best, she's been in this business for 11 years, best September and October ever this fall. I know, great, eh? And she's always the one to say getting out of working in her business and to work on her business was the magic, is what she had said on our podcast.
Yeah, and I'm hesitant to use names because I haven't asked anybody, but let's just say Sally, in air quotes, was a franchisee with a brand.
Sally's always your fake person.
It's Jimmy and Sally. Those are the names.
Jimmy and Sally, right.
I know. And but usually I use them in a negative context. But in this case, actually, I definitely had Sally, who was a franchisee that we had in one of our first performance groups, and was struggling, lost a lot of money the previous year, was thinking, wanted to sell, didn't know, didn't realize that her business was worth nothing. Joined the performance group almost hesitantly, I would say. Looked at her numbers, heard what some of the group was doing, she created what the biggest shift for her was. She got into community marketing instead of just waiting for digital leads. She's an outstanding networker. You put Sally in front of people and that phone is going to ring. And she is killing it. Now, like her business now, I bet you it's gone from worth 50,000 to somewhere between 700 and 900,000 if she wanted to sell it tomorrow.
Wow.
And she's still with me in a mastermind. Tremendous lack of ego, just wanting to learn, get better. Has had some emotional highs and lows, like every franchisee and business owner. But really, she looks at her numbers every week. She manages her team. She still is out in the community as the face, but she's not doing day-to-day ops. Yeah, absolutely rock star. And
Amazing.
so, such a privilege to work with her.
That's very cool. So we've got to wind down. I'm going to ask you one question that obviously we are here. We can run performance groups and masterminds with franchise systems, but we always want to make sure that we're bringing some value on these podcasts. So my question to you is, other than working with us, Brecon, what could a franchisor do in their system to help their franchisees become a business owner, not just an operator?
Outside, good question. I think there's a variety of things that you can do to help a franchisee become a better business owner. One is you have to invest in support for them, right? And you've got to help coach them, even if you're doing it internally or they're getting it through podcasts. But stop fixing their problems. Make sure you have accurate data so that they can use it. It's amazing how often, like franchise systems, we come across and they don't have chart of accounts that are consistent. They don't have accurate KPIs. You must have data, and you must use data and questions to drive that self-reflection. If you keep fixing problems for them and you don't have data to back up what you think is happening, there's no way there's a much lower chance that they're going to buy into what you're selling. And understand that it's a journey. It is not, you're not going to get a perfect franchisee ever. There's no such thing as a perfect small business. It's about progress. And I've always said this is about Kaizen, right? Continuous improvement. And then celebrate those successes, help them keep getting better. But as a franchisor, you've got to have support that's doing that. And if your support is not doing that, you need to find a way to revamp that and make sure you're getting on track with those, because otherwise you are just building more fires that are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to add to that, in addition to train your franchisees on business skills. Give them, find opportunities to do that, whether it's running workshops or boot camps, or you doing it in initial training or pre-training, let's say, or after the fact, or ongoing training opportunities, not just a one and done, ongoing training opportunities for these business skills. Everything that we've mentioned today.
Professional development doesn't end after one seminar. It's amazing how many brands will do okay, we're going to do a financial seminar today. And now they assume the entire system understands financials.
Yeah.
It never stops. But every brand I've worked with or that we've seen that invests in support and ongoing training for the franchisees, it comes back in spades. It does. And also get them thinking long-term thinking. Please. Right. Goals, planning, strategic plan. What did they say? Failing to plan is planning to fail. Yeah. Hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not. That's our favorite line. Hope is not a strategy.
Right. Absolutely. So you've got to help invest in teaching them how to do that, and then show them how to do it, and then help them apply the theory, and then keep going. Keep going. It never stops.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, Brecon, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hang with you. You've given us such a clear picture of what it really means to move from an operator to an owner, and that really is the key to sustainable success. And for those that are listening, remember, growth doesn't come from working harder; it comes from working smarter. So take the time to step back and get perspective and lead intentionally. So. Thank you again, Brecon, and I really appreciate everyone joining me today for the Field Experts podcast.